Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Katie York, and I am an Associate State Director of Advocacy for AARP, and happy to talk to you today about a new program in New Jersey called RetireReady, and then touch a little bit on how that came to be and where advocacy played a role in that. So again, thanks so much for joining. So we all know that a secure retirement means, for a lot of people, just means surviving or even maintaining, unfortunately. But I actually have an even scarier fact for you. Nearly 1 in 3 people approaching retirement age think they're more likely to learn Bigfoot is real than to save enough to retire comfortably. And that's according to a 2019 survey from AARP and the Ad Council. Legit research, scary stuff. And adults with lower incomes are more likely to feel this way. So for instance, 31% of those with incomes from $40,000 to $74,999 compared to 25% of those from 75K up to almost 100,000. So today we're talking about making a secure retirement something that people can believe in again. Hopefully we can beat the Bigfoot stat by making it easier for workers to grow the savings they need to take control of their future. And so whenever we start talking about a secure retirement, we of course think about basically that one of the main critical pillars, which is Social Security. But unfortunately, what most people don't realize is that while Social Security is a critical piece of that puzzle, it alone is not enough to depend on. It was never actually meant to be a full, retirement dependency. It was created to ensure that older adults would have a steady and guaranteed source of income when they retired, but it was always meant to be part of this three-legged stool of savings and retirement through your employment. And the average Social Security benefits for a 65 plus New Jersey family is only about $21,000 per year, while older New Jersey families on average spend $28,000 a year on food, utilities, and healthcare alone. So we know this, and those numbers don't match. We don't have to be, math majors to figure out that that just doesn't work. And then the fact that traditional pensions are continuing to decline, we are seeing that personal savings are becoming an even bigger piece of this puzzle. And that's where the real problem becomes apparent. So this is national data showing financial insecurity risk on the rise. It shows that America faces a very big and very real retirement savings crisis. Half of households are at risk of not having enough to maintain their living standards in retirement, according to the Center on Retirement Research. And you can see the data go up to 2016, but you can see it's at 50% of households are at risk of insufficient retirement savings. And here in New Jersey, things aren't much better. Nearly half of New Jersey's private sector workers, or 1.7 million people, don't have access to a retirement savings plan through their employers. So how do we make a difference? Well, research shows that offering a person a way to save through their job dramatically increases their ability to save. In fact, Americans are 15 times more likely to save for retirement when they can do so at work through their regular paycheck. And that number actually jumps to 20 times more likely to save if they're automatically enrolled. So the vast majority of New Jerseyans will accept the responsibility to build a financially secure retirement, but we have to make that a possibility. A secure retirement must be made achievable for everyone who works hard throughout their lives. And we think that we have gotten to the point where there is a realistic, achievable solution. And that is the new program, RetireReady New Jersey. This program is set to launch this year. With RetireReady New Jersey, and employees' contributions are made with an automatic deduction from their paycheck. The accounts are voluntary for employees, and it's up to each worker to decide if they want to participate and how much they want to put away. But it is their own money that they can take with them. It's portable. It's not, they don't have to stay within a job to keep that money. And small business owners, we know, can become more competitive because they'll now be able to access a retirement savings benefit for their employees at no cost to them. So it's a way that the small business owners don't have to take on a risk, but they can add to their portfolio of benefits that they provide. So how did we get here? AARP led the campaign in New Jersey to establish RetireReady New Jersey, working with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Chinese Chamber of Commerce, and African American Chamber of Commerce. But the process has been a long one. A bill passed in 2016, but was never implemented. And then after we had a change in the governor, the campaign was relaunched and the bill was signed in 2019. But again, as you can see from the 2016 bill, just because it's signed doesn't mean it's happening. So the work was not done. So per the legislation, it was called the Secure Choice Savings Program in the legislation. It's now called RetireReady. It should have been implemented within 24 months of the law's enactment or by March of 2021. Do the math, as I just mentioned, we're launching this year. We're not in 2021. So AARP continued to advocate for the implementation of the law, pushing for startup funding to be included in the state budget. Fortunately, that did happen. And as I mentioned, RetireReady New Jersey is piloting around May 15th of this year and launching fully later this year. And then just zooming out to the broader perspective, AARP has led and continues to lead this work on work and save campaigns in other states and the federal level as well. And that ends my presentation, so I can stop sharing and see your faces again. There we go. Okay, I see Janet has her hand raised, and I see there's chat questions. Okay, Janet, you want to go? Janet, you're on mute. Maybe Janet just is stretching, digitally stretching. Lisa said, is this available to New Jersey residents working in New York? I don't know the answer to that question, Lisa. I'll look that up. And then I see a question. Gina Marie said, I'm confused with the 28,000. Is this true for the rate of inflation of food costs alone? Many is, yeah. So the 28,000 number it's definitely a situation where it's based on an average as opposed to individual situations. And I think Gina Marie is referring to the cost per people. So it's an average. I believe that's from 2022. So those numbers have probably changed, but that's the most recent information I had. So it's a really good point, Gina Marie, that these numbers are in reality are probably higher. And then the question is RetireReady only for those that are still working? Yes, you do. As far as I know, you do sign up. If there's something different, I'll find out, and hopefully I'll connect with Emily and Natalie and see if we can follow up with emails, or I can even put it, you know what, I'll put answers to the questions in that shared document that we have. Janet can't unmute herself. Sorry, Janet. I hope it's not like a power trip on my end. In expenses is housing included in utilities. Also, there are penalties for withdrawing before retiring. So I don't think, I believe, I don't know the answer to the housing. As far as penalties for withdrawing, you're basically putting the funds, there are different investment options. So it's an IRA or a Roth IRA. So same rules apply as that. And I did put the investment options. They've just been approved by the Secure Choice Board. There, that is in the shared folder. Any other questions? Melissa, I saw you mute, unmute.
Yeah,
Go ahead, ask the question.
Then I was gonna try to actually like be polite and raise my hand, but I couldn't find for that. So I just wanted to know, because people have asked about specifics on that housing number. What's the source for that? Is that Elder Index data, or is that from somewhere else?
No, it's not Elder Index.
Because if it was Elder Index, I could tell you exactly what's included in that number.
It's one of our, I would have to find the fact, it's a fact sheet of ours.
Okay. It's probably then census data. It's probably from ACS or PUMS.
If I had to guess, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Then most likely then the housing number is probably, Janet, just purely the cost of their housing. I don't know if that in the census data includes utilities or not. But we could probably find out.
Yeah, I think the main takeaway is that this is an average, and for a lot of people, probably a very conservative number, the 28,000. And if the average for Social Security is only 21,000, the point is that there is this gap that needs to be made up. And if pensions basically don't exist anymore for a lot of people, you know, how do we make up that gap?
Yeah. And to Gina Marie's point about food deserts, the other thing we have to consider on your pointing out that this is an average is that things cost different depending on where you live, right? If people who live in a suburban area and have access to a grocery store, their gallon of milk, their bag of apples are going to be a different cost than if I live in an inner city and I'm going to the corner store to buy those things, or if I'm buying them at places that have a higher cost because of the convenience of where they're located, or just because of the, you know, access issues. So that 28 is a movable number depending on your situation, for sure.
Absolutely. Thanks, Melissa. Anita.
Okay, my question with this is this in addition to, some people have already enrolled in in a 401k with their company? Is this in addition, or is this for companies that don't even offer a 401k?
So that's a good question, because we've always focused on the people who don't have access to retirement.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know if people can sign up independently if they have a retirement program through work. I'll add that to my answer to the questions.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
If this is an IRA, how does it differ from the 401k and other retirement plans? That is, it's the same difference between a 401k and an IRA in general. So a 401k is offered through an employer. An IRA is something that you would have to go, you know, to get directly through whatever broker or however you get your retirement funds, but not through your employer. So the 401k is offered through your employer, and IRA is a plan that's not offered, is how I understand it. I am not a retirement investment professional by any means. I don't even play one on TV. Any other questions? I'm writing down the questions that people had that I could not answer. Was everybody able to see the shared documents? No? Okay, hopefully that'll go out after the fact. So I've uploaded this presentation. I also put within there a document with some stories, like for instance, the New York Times just had an article on retirement. It was an interesting opinion because it wasn't an opinion piece. The author wrote about, he previously had the opinion that people should work as long as they can, and that should be the retirement plan. And when he saw the difference in access that people have to retirement planning and the disparities that it's perpetuating, he kind of changed his tune. And I didn't put the stats in because I didn't think on a Friday morning people wanted to look at a chart about like stats about people who die without retirement. I didn't want to start off launch the weekend that way. But I did put a link to it. It is a gifted article. So there's only 30 days to view it, but it is in there. And then I also put the link to the RetireReady website. And since we don't have questions, I'm going to really quickly screen share. Let me open it up first. The RetireReady website, so I can walk people through that as well. So here's the website for RetireReady. I did put the link in the presentation. It's basically nj.gov/treasury/secure choice. I can't read it because I'm sorry. Secure choice program, my screen sharing is in the way, but I did put the information in the presentation and in the document that I have in the folder for you all. There is information about employers. If you know someone or you are a small employer who would like to participate in the pilot program, there's a link to sign up. I think it's really great that the state is piloting this program. And just to be clear, the state is not running this program. This is a program that's in partnership with the state where people have access to private funds for investment. So the employer doesn't take on a fiduciary risk. The state is not taking on a fiduciary risk. And then There is more information for employers here to get a sense of how this works. More information for savers, which are the people who would be enrolling. And then on here, this board information, yes, it's BOARD, although for people who don't care about these details, it's BORED. But if you really want to get into the information, you scroll down here, and here's the investment options that I mentioned. The default plan that people are automatically enrolled in is one that is based on your estimated age of retirement, the risk levels that it will invest in. So more information here if you're interested in any of that, and it goes back to 2021. You can also see the board members. Our very own Director of Advocacy, Evelyn Liebman, is the vice chair. And you can see that the people who have been working on this are all actively engaged in this field. So a lot of great work that's gotten done there, and just the fact that we've gotten so far that it's ready to launch after so much work to get it from a law to reality is really exciting. And I see chat coming in, so I'm going to stop sharing. Thank you for putting the link in the chat, Rebecca. Is RetireReady available now? Can anyone join? RetireReady is not available now. It is piloting through employers in May, and employers with 25 or fewer people are required to participate if they don't have something else already in place. Would someone be eligible moving to New Jersey from another state? Yeah, as soon as you're in New Jersey and working in New Jersey, you could participate. I'm going to confirm the question that Lisa had about New Jersey residents working in New York. Other questions? And Pennsylvania, okay. That's a good point. Although we tend to see, Gina Marie, that people live in Pennsylvania and work in New Jersey, but we should certainly check. Employers of 25 or fewer employees are required to participate, Janet, yes. Or will be. And just to give a sense in, I'm sorry, I'm reading questions and trying to talk at the same time, and that never works out right. What do employers have to do? The employers don't have to do much. They need to give information to their employees and then set up a deduction in their payroll system. And from what we've heard, even the very, very, very small employers typically use something like ADP or some payroll system. So we don't anticipate that this will be a heavy lift and certainly not a cost. Mary asked what's happening in other states. Do they have similar programs? Yes, there are other states with similar programs. I put in that folder, we have a document from our Public Policy Institute about work and save programs throughout the country. That's the general name for these programs, where people can access this kind of retirement savings program. Other questions? Okay.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we have an election coming up in November. I'm just wondering, will that impact this new program?
That's a great question, because as we saw in the implementation of this program, you know, that having a different governor can make a difference in what happens. I think that's why I think everybody has that on their radar. And I think that's part of why there's this push to get it launched now. So it'll be in place. The law is already passed. It would take a lot to disband it at that point. So I think that there's that awareness of the time. And I think in general, in state government, everything is tinged with that awareness of there's going to be a change soon. So, but I think that's been part of the push. Great question, Monica. Judy asked, where in the state is it beginning to be piloted? So to my knowledge, it's not a location where it's going to be piloted. It's going to be based on a cross section of various employers who sign up. So regardless of location is my understanding. I don't know. Hopefully they'll be in a situation where they have so many people who've replied that, you know, they need to pick and choose and have distribution, but I have no idea how many have applied to pilot it. But I'm hoping that we get some great feedback. And as I mentioned, I think it's pretty great that they included the information in the piloting so that they're able to make changes before they launch to the big whole shebang. Mark asked, would RetireReady be considered as income by the Social Security Administration? Well, RetireReady is the program through which you would enroll in an IRA or a Roth IRA. So it would be treated the same. It would be an IRA or a Roth IRA. So I don't know how Social Security treats those investment options, but it would be the same. Will there be a mechanism for employers to do matching like with 401k plans? It's my understanding that it's not, because they are plans that are outside of the employer. But that would be interesting if that would be something coming forward, but it's my understanding that there isn't right now. And if I had to guess, it would be because it's a lot easier to say that there's no cost to employers, right? That's a clear, easy message to get out there to sell it, for lack of a better term. But I will look into that, Rebecca. Thank you. How is this new program connects with the ABLES account for those of us who just, so I don't know how IRAs or Roth IRAs interact with other accounts or guidelines like limits on assets. I don't know the answer to that question, Gina Marie, so I will look into that.
Yeah, that's important. And
Absolutely.
it's going to be a continuation of what Mr. Mark asked too.
Yeah, the implications of this on, you know, taxation, on your Social Security benefits, all those things. Absolutely. Thank you. Monica, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, but I think I forgot my question. Sorry. I feel like it was similar to the last question. I'm thinking about, like, since it's an IRA and Roth, it doesn't matter other income. Like you have to be income eligible for this or not.
No, not for this. You don't have to be income eligible. Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. It'll come back to me.
Okay.
I'll put it in the chat.
Right after we leave the room, it'll come back to you, I'm sure. Any
Miss
other questions?
Katie,
Yes.
is it, because I know for those of us that we're in programs and we need to use like the ABLES accounts to help us, you know, fill in the gap of real life expense living. Is there a marriage penalty to this program? Like it's just, there's a lot of open-ended questions about how the structure is. Like maybe I not understand the base of why the program is put in place as to why I'm questioning.
So the program is a way to help people get access to IRAs or Roth IRAs to have an easy way to save for retirement. So we could go out and we could, you could take the time, if you're so motivated and have the access and the time, to go out and meet with a professional and set up an IRA with somebody. Any of us could do that.
They charge us though. That's why a lot of us that are already low or very low brackets not able to do that. So is that why this program like fills that gap?
Yes, and it also makes it easier. So it's taking out a deduction from your paycheck directly as you're working, and it's putting it aside, and it's automatically put into that IRA. And there, as I mentioned, there are investment options. I don't have all the details on all of them, how they operate differently, but they're Roth IRAs and IRAs. So that way you don't have to take that extra time. It's making it easier and allowing it to go in your paycheck deduction like that.
Okay. Thank you. So then
You're welcome.
so then maybe we could learn more how it does overlap and interconnect with the ABLES accounts and stuff like that.
Yes, I'm going to look into that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And please look forward to, we have 58 seconds. Please look on that folder because I will follow up to answers to these questions. I saved the chat. Monica, do we have data on how other states are performing? I believe we have some of that in the document, I'm saying document over and over again, in the paper that I share, in the folder from our Public Policy Institute. If there isn't information on that, I'll see if I can find others. And with that, thank you all so much for coming. I really appreciate you taking the time and asking all these questions, and look forward to seeing you on the other side. It was great seeing some of your familiar faces. Thanks, everybody.